This daf Yerushalmi Pesachim. The article Osvar edition on daf Samach Beis Amud Aleph, right at the top. Rabbi Yerushalmi Boy, which in the Vilna is on daf Nun Beis Amud Beis, a little bit less than halfway, or maybe exactly halfway down the page. 16 lines on the top. Rabbi Yerushalmi Boy. Now we're going back on yesterday's Mishnah from Zvachim, where it says, "Kol Zvachim shekibel daman zar onein tfuyom b'chusar begadim." B'chusar kapara, b'chusar kaparim, b'shlar chutz yadayim raglayim. Orel tamei yoshev oimer agabi ken agabi peima agabi chaver chavero pasul. All these cases are cases which are pasul. And the Ziknei Doram, the Dromoi, said that that tamei in that Mishnah is talking about tamei tumas ziva and tamei tumas saras. But if Kohen is tamei mason and he did the avoda, then it's not a problem. But the evidence, of course, it's not a problem, but the evidence is kosher. So Rabbi Yerushalmi is asking that. Rabbi Boy, hey tummy, that tummy mentioned in the Mishnah and Zvachim, which says it's puzzle. Mad overlay. What are you going to say it is? What are you talking about? The tummy tuma ziva tuma saras. You're going to say it's about somebody who's tummy tuma ziva tuma saras, not tuma mace, because obviously according to Ziknei Doram, we do what's made since avodah is kosher. So if that's the case, well, I think it says later in the Mishnah, b'chusar kapara. And b'chusar kapara means he was a zavar mitzvah, and then he went to the mikveh, but he didn't bring his korban yet. And it says that's possible. So if even when went to the mikveh, he's mechal avodah. Koshken shel tava. Kavachomer has gone to the mikveh. So what's the why have to say tame when it said b'chusar kaparim? We know from kavachomer. Similarly, hayin tful yom, and the Mishnah also mentioned tful yom. So it must be a tful yom in ameis, right? The might overlay tful yom min ameis. It's got tful yom ameis, because if it's not tful yom in ameis, it's zav or mitzvah. So then b'chusar kipurim. So this is about tful yom in ameis, right? It has to be talking about that. He went to the mikveh. He had the seventh day ashes sprinkled him, and he hasn't yet the night hasn't fallen yet. Ischame. So let's talk about the logic here. Come see. Tame Mason and Mechalo, right? Because it's Mason and Mechalo. Lo koshken tful yom in ames is not a kavachomer that tful yom in ames can be Mechalo. So what's it talking about? Ella, okay, says, well, we have a little, so tell me, there's another possibility. True. It's a mace, not tful yom mace. Ella, it's tful yom in asheretz. Let's say it's tful yom, we touch the asheretz. It also has, he has to wait till Harav Shemesh, right? First Mishnah Shas, it's like calling him Nichnas in the Chobot Shemoson. So so that's also from asheretz. So, Isachame. So, let's analyze this as well. I want to read one korban here, which I think is important. Hain tful yom klomar two high tful yom masisa ma'akum mukasla. In tful yom in a mace, hashit may mace mechal tful yom today lo koshkein. Or tful yom the zavin like a lukme. You can't say something tful yom zav. Shu koshkein b'chusay kapora mechal. Because once you know b'chusay kapora zav is mechal, so the tful yom who's not yet, who's of a higher level of, so to speak, tuma, because he's missing the b'chusay kapora is the next day already. Mr. Karbonis. The Tful Yom is on the day before Harav Shemesh, so we would know that he is Matami from B'chusar Kapara. So Tful Yom, but he talking about Tful Yom the mace. Then what it says, maybe it's about Tful Yom the sheretz. Okay, so that is so. He says, it says more Ischamei. Let's see this. Tful Yom min a mace ain't a mechalo. The Tful Yom of a mace is not mechalo. Tful Yom, because a mace is not mechalo, certainly Tful Yom is not mechalo. So therefore, Tful Yom and Asheretz also should not be Mechalo, because he's a lesser level of Tumah than Tful Yom and Ames. So Tful Yom and Ames is Mechalo, Koshken, Tful Yom and Asheretz. And Tful Yom and Asheretz, it should certainly not be Matame. Should not be postal avodah. I'm sorry, should not postal avodah. Okay, it's going to answer this last question. I don't know, Shmuel by Yudon. Magoy Zobin. Pnei Moshe says, the Tful Yom lo kashim b'nei dorm. The Yechon Farash Tful Yom the Magoy Zobin. They touch Zobin. There's no b'chusar kapara there. So it could be that's why the Mishnah tells two types of zavin in the process of being mitaher themselves. The zav who's a tful yom, and the person who, actually two types of tuma ziva, the person who touched the zav,
right? And there's no mechus kapara, and the person was a zav and went to the mikveh, but now he and it was had Arav Shevish, and now he's still just mechus kippurim. Rabbanan the Kesarim Pasin Kula Bezav. So Rabbanan there's a Kesarim Pasin. They resolve Mishnah according to Ziknei as follows. It says Pnei Moshe Libin Ziknei Dom the Matzi Pushe the Kula Bezav. My it's all that Bezav. Fuyam Shura Achas Vein El Kabal Keri. And the Zav will only sees it one time. The Ziva is the status of a Balkari, and he only has to go to the mikveh and wait till nightfall. I should read the next line. Pnei Moshe. Tami Shorashtayim came to Chemara and said, Tami, you see, it saw twice. It's a carbon, it doesn't require a carbon, but it still has some Chutz Chutz Kippurim, B'Sharah, Shalosh Riyos, Chutz Kippurim is when he saw it 3 times, right? That is Zav Gomor. Sorry, carbon is absolute Zav, and he does require carbon. So let's see inside that in the way where Pnei Moshe fixed it. Rabbanan goes, Pasuk Kula B'Tful Yom. Kula B'Zav, sorry, Tful Yom, Ishra Achas, so on. Tamei, everybody takes the word mace here. Tamei, Shara Shtayim. He saw 2. Because Kippurim, Shara Shalosh, right? So it's Tful Yom, Tamei, and Kippurim, they're all talking about Zav. Tful Yom is after one time. Tamei is after 2 times. So it's, even though it's similar to Balkari, that he doesn't have, he has to wait 7 days, but doesn't have to go, doesn't have to be Korbanos. So that's called, so he's called a Tamei. Right? So it does have, it's not similar to Balkari, I already said that. He has to wait 7 days, doesn't be a Korban, so, but it's called a Tamei. And then there's the Mechus Kippurim, the 3 reels has to also be in Korban. Okay, so the Gemara says, the Ramoi, according to the Ramoi, Magazov Kazov. It sounds like somebody who touches Zav is like a Zav, and that's the Gemara. It says, I'll die to the Ramoi, Ikalemi boy. The question we asked, Magazov Kadin Zav Kufe, you call Pesach. Is the status of a Zav, somebody touched the Zav, like a Zav himself for Korban Pesach. Come on, the Tzibur Zavin Emavim Betuma, just like a Tzibur Zavin doesn't bring the Korban Pesach Betuma. Magoy Zavin Nami Emavim. People who touch Zavin also want to bring it. Ulujramoi, of the Magazov Kazav, according to Dramoi, who say Magazov Kazav, Liachil Avoida, Kinim Farish, Shmuel, Ali Balak, Shmuel, Bayudan, just said according to them. Imodin in Pesach. Is that true about a Pesach cane? That also Magoy Zav have a status of Zavin, or not? So, Nishmanim Yado. That's not from here, says Gemara. The Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yishem, Rabbi Yeshua, let's say name Rabbi Yeshua, Minasaron is Vana Kodashim. It says the Aaron will bear the sin of the Karbanos. This is the tzitz, right? The tzitz is meratze on the Karbanos Avon HaKrevim, a sin which has to do tuma, which has to do with the Krevim, the Karbanos themselves, Lo Avon HaKrevim, not the Avera of the people who are being makriv, not the where the basar and dam becomes tummy, not where the oivdim became tummy, which of course is the basis of the whole discussion we've been having here. So now where it says a very cute chap, where it says dam zav, obviously the blood became tummy. The blood is not a zav itself, right? So the blood basar, the avon craving is turning to basar dam. It's mostly talking about magazov, right? The zav touched the dam, made a tummy. So dam zav, no, magazov. Obviously touch zav. Okay, it says it's a chaper for avon craving. Kavasav avon makrivim magazov. And avon makrivim, which is not a chaper on, is a magazov, right? It's just like the Zav is blood which came into contact with the Zav. The dam is Zav which came into contact with Zav. So to the person is a person who came into contact with the Zav. And it's not Maratze. So if it's not Maratze, so therefore also it must be that for Korban Pesach it's not Hutra but Tzibur. Hadam Ra Haya Tzibur Magazar Magazavos ain't Osim Betuma. Very interesting. Very good, cute clap. Okay, I don't think it's anything like that in Bavli. Could be mistaken, but I don't remember that for the Bavli at all. Okay, Aloha Ches. Need Masholim or Rubo. If the Korban Pesach became Tomei when it is whole or the majority, you burn it in the Beis Hamikdash. This is a place either Bar Habayis, either the Har Habayis is or Bira. There's a place in the basement called the Bira. Me'atzeh Marocha, from the wood of the Marocha, meaning from the wood of the of Hekdesh. The Moshe says because lay bases massively nos b'shel Hekdesh. However, it's surface of nearby Silvaisho. Since we required him to, it was like kind of like a compromise. We required you to burn in public because you were not careful. Well, you burn it with the wood of the public. Okay. See, the nitma miuto minority being tummy van no sor if there's leftover. So the same. You burn it. They burn it in their own courtyards, or go same, or on their roofs. Me'atzi atzman, from their own wood. Hatzikanim serving also live in their bureau. But the people who are skinflints, miserly, they bring it back to burn it in the base of Mikdash in order to burn it from the wood of the Maracha, the wood of the of Hekdesh. Shilahenas me'atzei Maracha. In order to get Hanor from the Maracha, they shouldn't have to should have to run their own. And the Pimot says also interesting. You want to embarrass yourself and burn in public? Okay, we'll let you get away with it. Okay, so then the Gemara gives us that idea, which maybe we should just introduce us to. Says Kormeda, in order to publicize it, there's a burn in public in the Har Habayis, Lavaisho, to embarrass him, but rob him in public, to tell everybody that he messed up. I want to burn it in the base of Mikdash, but I want to use my own wood. Ain't Shamila, we don't listen to him. We don't allow him to do that. So, Gemara clarifies, Lo tzurcha da law means we don't it's that's partial. We don't let him bring his own wood to the Beis HaMikdash to burn it, because as Komeda points out, then later on, what happens if he takes the wood home? Because say he's taking the wood home from Atzei Hekdesh, people are not going to know that the wood he brought from his house, and they're going to be choshim and saying Atzei Hekdesh, being enemy Hekdesh. So we're not going to let you bring your own wood to the Beis HaMikdash, because that can cause all sorts of issues later on with the chashash and meila. But rather, that I'm going to burn it at home from my own wood. So words koshkin here are hard to sustain. I suggest to take them out. You can fetch them in and say it's obvious or something like that. I don't know exactly how to put them in. So, but rather he said, "Hareini sorva agagi mi'atzi atzmo ein shomilo." Even the person says, "No, I want to do it at home from my own wood." Okay, you don't let me use my wood at the Beis HaMikdash, but at home, no, we don't let you do that. Can't let you burn at home with your own wood, because the whole point is to embarrass you. So therefore, you have to do it in public. And once you're there, we make you use that same Maracha, and you can't obviously take any wood home from that. Rabbi Yirmiyah gives a different reason why we don't let you use your own wood, because then we wouldn't know about the end of the at the end of the Mishnah, where he said that the person had nitma miuta and noser. If they burn, they can bring the Beis Mikdash, then they're tzaykonim. So we don't let you burn it with your own wood. Is that to tell us that the person mentioned afterwards, right? The guy who's nitma miuta or comes to noiser, that he's a skinflint, that he's a miser, and that's important to us, because we want to make this clear. You know, it's true, because I load sabach like tzaykan, because I was like tzaykan. We want to identify him as a tzaykan, so people able to bring their own wood wouldn't have this understanding of this person who's coming and burning even nitma miuta or noser in the basement, that he's a tzaykan. So it's important for us to know. The next line of Gemara is pretty unintelligible. Kali kilu b'tzayach sanoi. They made it by somebody who is a guest. So that was kind of out of left field here. What are we talking about? So the Korban says, so he left Yerushalayim. Remembers that he has Basar Kodesh in his hands. He can come back and burns it in front of the base, in the base, in Harabais, from the wood of the base of Mikdash. So if you know, it sounds like even a minority in this case, we burn from the Atzim Aracha. They kill Bachsnoish, and it seems to serve Mahatzim Aracha. This is a case where we're lenient by him, who left Yerushalayim, even though we only need him a miuto, and Lichara it's considered to be inappropriate to go back to burn Mahatzim Aracha. No, we're him or make him for it. So he can go back and burn up for he doesn't have any wood of his own. So I don't know how we identify as being definitely than the Tzaikonim, but evidently besides the Tzaikonim, they're Matir Achsanoim, and it's not considered to be, for some reason, maybe that a special section for Achsanoim, and they're Meko that they can use that to Meracha as well. Okay. Again, it's not necessarily directly related to our Mishnah. So now you go back to the part of Mishnah talk about Bira. Rabbi Yochanan Migdal Hayab Barabais, a certain tall place in the base in the Harabais, or Kar Bira. That was called the Bira in the Harabais. Then the Rishim Melok, and that's where they would burn these korbanos. So Rishim Melok Shamar Kol Harabais Kar Bira, the entire Harabais Kar Bira. Lasos Kol Nosa Bira Shachinosi. This is a possibly very yomim where. David is saying that Kosh Baruch Hu gave him the Goren, the threshing for Ravna to build the Bira. And the Bira, evidently, here references the entire Beis HaMikdash. Okay, Lacha Test. HaPesach Shilat, a Pesach which left the precincts of the Yerushalayim, the world of Yerushalayim. Oshnit and Mikmar became Tameh. Yisar Miyat, you converted immediately, even on Yudalad. Nidum Abaylim, obviously it's not a Yontif. Nidum Abaylim, the owner became Tameh, Oshemes or died. So then there's not a psul aguf, a tuba to so it's got to wait to become noser the next day. Yetzer Beis HaSreifa, and then go out to Beis HaSreifa, and of course you can't burn on Tezvav, you have to burn on Tezayin. Rayah Ben Gomer Avisar Miyad Sheino Ochlim. Rayah Ben Broker argues when Nidmu Ba'al Mesu, Kormei says specifically for Zrikas Adam that the meat was never suitable to eat. So then it should be immediately because there's Ein Lo Ochlin, there is no buddy to eat it, so therefore that's like a psul haguf. Okay, says the Gemara. Tani Rabbi Chia says psul pigul is gufu nisha miyad. I wrote inside my Gemara that I think it should say pigul pasul. That a pigul is pasul, and therefore the pigul, in other words, pigul psul haguf, and it should be burned immediately. So not psul pigul, but pigul psul. The article changed it. It does. How do you know? The article changed it. In the text itself, as a bechia psul pasul in parentheses and pigul, and then pasul in brackets. Who is it quoting? Somebody? It's based on the Leiden. And it says that the Leiden manuscript, the Magia was Magia's in front of us, and the Magia made a mistake. What do you know? So I see Yerushalmi Pesachim does bring down that thing, and I don't know why I missed it. I mean, he always brings down the Leiden things, and I should have seen it there. Okay, but so anyway, so that's really okay. Tanya Bechia Pigul Psul Agufu Nisar Miyad. Need Mubaylim Osha Mesu if it's a need Mubaylim or Mesu, so then Psul Machshir. That's a Psul Machshir, which I raised several times in this Masechta. In other words, a Psul which is not completely puzzle, and therefore Ton Tzura also requires Ibutzura in order to be able to burn it. Rabbi Yosef said, Masnisa Amra Kain. This we also have a brisa which says this explicitly. Pesach Shilatza Shnitma Psul Gufu, about not about Pigul, but about these other cases. Pesach which went out, or Yerushalmi, or became Tomei, Psul Gufu, V'nisam B'yad, it's Psul Gufu, it's run immediately. Neither Ba'al Moshe Mesu, if the Ba'al became Tomei, or they died, Psul Machshiru, it's a Psul Machshir, B'ton Yitzur, and has requires Yitzura. Rabbi Chama Bar Ukva, B'Shem Rabbi Yosef Chanina. Interesting, that's, I didn't know this before. That last mission also had Rabbi Chama Bar Ukva, B'Shem Rabbi Yosef Chanina. So I guess they were, this is a common, at least here, Rabbi Tam relationship. Said Rabbi Nechemia, Rabbi Yochanan and Broka Shneim over Dabar Echad. Nechemia, Yochanan and Broka both said the same thing. Rabbi Yochanan and Broka is in our Mishnah. He said that if it has an ochlin, it's burnt immediately, right? So you see, psul ochlin is like a psul aguf, and Rabbi Nechemia says something similar. And the commentator changes the girsa here, and I'll read the commentator, but there's a way to get out of it. I'll tell you about in a second. He says, right, in time they aninus safua. They burnt the carbonos in after another man because they're aninus. Kachmar ka'ela. That's what it says. Things like this happen. You do Rabbi Nechemia. Yerushalmi aninus is because of aninus. Can't because of aninus, because then all the carbonos should have been burnt and not just one of the carbonos. So, but anyway, without getting into the details at that moment, the way the Yerushalmi Kibshuta suggests is, in order to avoid the Tikkun Gersa, says the Tani Abra Nechemia, and then turning to the word V'chi, because that's not actually relevant, because he does hold because Aninus Nisraf, and he put it in the next line as a V'chule. Doubt the article made this change, but no, it does not. But in any event, at least not the text itself. But so it says, so maybe Amar Nechemia B'mnei Aninus Nisraf V'chule. Not so the V'chi take over here, and then the V'chule references Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, who Kormeir cites more explicitly. How do you burn because of Tumah? They all three have been burnt. So therefore must have been burnt because of Tumah, not because of Aninus. But in any event, the Gemara is saying, Rabbi Chema says, it's Nisam Ne'aninus because they're no Ochlin. They're no Ochlin, it's like Psul Guf, so therefore it's burnt immediately. It's a Psul Machshir, it's a Psul Guf. Okay, Davar Acher, another reason why they say Nea Tuma, Nisraf, the Rabbi Yehuda and Rishonim, because they were Ochlin. How Pinchas Sayamayim? Pinchas was with them. And Pinchas could have eaten it. He wasn't Ravel, he wasn't Noinen. None of you are only his uncles, not his son or brother. So clearly, obviously, at this point, the Gemara, at least the Yerushalmi, is going with the assumption that Pinchas was a Kohen before the story with Zimri. But the Gemara might get this wrong. Yeah. Okay. So the I was going to get to in a minute. So Davar Acher. Another reason why to me Doichen say it wasn't Aninus Nisraf. They could eat it at night because Aninus was only Rabbanan. So they like eat it late at night. So if Aninus was the issue, was when they had Yom V'Layla, they could have ate it after later. So it says more Take if it's a diet of Michem Yisorev. It says here Yom Neh Kormei Chesed Shloshtan. You should burn all three. So Michem Shlosh Nisrafu. Yeah, he holds all three are burnt. Moshe has a very elaborate way of making the gears of Yimna work out. So in the Bavli, actually, here you have the article brings it down. You have the whole discussion of what, so that maybe the Kohen Nechemia, not all three are burnt, but under the Kodshe Shah, there was a heter to eat them, even though they're only named, and the Kodshe Doros, there wasn't a heter to eat them, so only the Kodshe Doros are burnt, not the Kodshe Shah. But he also, the article has an interesting discussion of from the Reb Chaim, I guess, and the Pnei Moshe, Reb Chaim, about why it says in the pasuk Zos V'Esir Chatos Darosh Darash Moshevi Nei Sorof. Sounds like only one of them was burnt, right? So it must be that it wasn't only one according to Nechemia. So there's a Darash here, Seir, that's Chatos from Nachshon, Chatos, that's Chatos and the Shmi Miluim. The Rosh Darash, it's here Rosh Chodesh. They saw off, each one of them was burnt. Okay, in any event, it could be a Sir Chatos is left the Africa. I'm sure the ways getting around the pasuk, but the according to Yerushalmi, in any event, all three were burnt. So, and then we're going to address the other questions, but well, let's address now. You know, it's on off. So, Pinchas Lochol. So, Gemara says, "Adain lo yisman kohen." The word gadol here appears in the Vilna. It's superfluous. The Kohen takes down. He's not a kohen. Was that wasn't Eitzah. Hayol lo chol me'arab. So, Nechem and Yisrael Torah. He holds and Yisrael is also deraisa. Okay. Right, hey, that's good enough here. We'll stop. It's already way on off.